Hi, my name's Mindy, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. I'm going to be doing my November TBR. I have quite an ambitious TBR here, and I won't get all these books read, but I hope to get a good amount of them done. The two books that I'm currently reading are, one is called Unwound by Neil Shusterman. I heard about this book from Janie over at A Bookworm's Buddy, and she was describing this dystology, and it sounded really interesting. So I'm reading the first book in the dystology. I'm on page 104, and this book, they don't have abortion. They have children, and you can, when the children are 13 to age 18, they can be what's called unwound, which means they take different parts from the child and distribute them to different people that need them. So there are three main characters in this book: Connor, Risa, and Lev. Now Connor is a boy who's just was in trouble in and out of when he was in school and stuff, and his parents decided to have him unwound. Risa is an orphan that lives in the state-run orphanage, so the state decides to have her unwound. And Lev is what's known as a tithe. His parents had 10 children, and he's the 10th one, so he is known since he was old enough to understand that he was going to be unwound when he was 13. And this is about what happens when they all meet together on their way to being unwound. And it sounds really interesting, and it's been keeping my attention, and I've had a hard time putting it down when I've read well into the early hours of the morning when I'm reading this. So I can't wait to finish it so I can pick up the next book to see what's happening. The next book I'm going to be starting tonight, I haven't started it yet, is A Respectable Actress by Dorothy Love. Excuse me. This is about India Hartley, who is a really famous and beautiful actress. And she, after her father dies, she decides to go on a tour of theaters in the South. And on her second night in Savannah, her co-star, Anthony Sterling, is shot and killed right in front of a packed audience. And then she's arrested for the crime. So I'd like to see where this goes. Sounds interesting. I can't wait to pick it up. The next book sorry, is called War for the Waking World by Wayne Thomas Batson. And this is the third book in the Dream Treaders series. And this is about a boy named Archer Keaton, who is a dream treader, which means that his mission is to protect the waking world from the nightmare lord who dwells beyond the slumber gate. But as his dreams become more dangerous and threatening, so too does his waking life. So it sounds really interesting, and I can't wait to get into it. The next book I have is called The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson. And let me read you a blurb by D.J. McHale, author of the Pendragon and the Silo series. He says, brave young soldiers must battle dark forces armed with the nerves of a warrior and the skills of an artist. A fun read with a unique take on fighting where if you can't draw, you die. That sounds interesting to me because I can't draw, so I would probably die. But this sounds like it's really a really interesting book. And then the next book I have on my pile here is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. And I've had this book on and off my TBR for months now, and I just want to finally try to get into it and try to get this done before the end of the year. I know I'm probably about the last person who's read this book, but but it sounds really interesting. As everyone probably already knows, the main character in this book is Death, and it's set in World War II. So that sounds really interesting to me. And then A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I really love this edition. This is the Barnes & Noble signature edition. This is the book cover, and I really like it. And then the inside is just plain. Nothing really on it, but I really like this cover, and I like this. And one of my goals for next year is going to be try to read at least one classic per year. I've been collecting the Anne of Green Gables series and the Little House on the Prairie series, and I'd like to put other books throughout those series too. So let me read you the quote they have here from the book. It says, "In the black prison of the concierge, I can't pronounce that, the doomed of the day awaited their fate. They were in number as the weeks of the year. 52 were to roll that afternoon on the life tide of the city to the boundless everlasting sea. Before their cells were quit of them, new occupants were appointed. Before their blood ran into the blood spilled yesterday, the blood that was to mingle with their tomorrow was already set apart." So I think I read this when I was in high school, but I'm not positive. So I would like to either read it for the first time or reread it. It's it's a classic, and I just would like to get this under my belt. The next book is called, I don't have it, it's on my Kindle. My Kindle's in the other room. So it's called Centralia, and it's by Mike DeLoso. And there's a town in Pennsylvania called Centralia, and it has a coal mine underneath the town which caught fire and will, I forget how many hundreds or millions of years it will burn because there's so much coal down there. And so it has, so basically Centralia is a ghost town now because there's only I think 5 people that live there. And that is what this book is about, and it's interesting. It's a thriller, and he writes thriller books, and I really think it would be interesting to read. A friend of mine read it, and she recommended it to me. So the next book I have is called The Endless Christmas by Cynthia Ruchti. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. If it's not, I apologize. But this book is a novella, and it's about what happens when a girl goes with her boyfriend to his grandparents' house for Christmas, and he asks her to marry him, and she says no. And this is what happens after that scene. So this is my first Christmas story for this year, and I'm kind of excited to start in on Christmas. I'm getting really excited for Christmas this year. And then the next book is The Silent Night of Refuge. This is a love-inspired suspense book, and it's by Katie Lee. And it's about a girl named Lacey Phillips who thinks that Wade Spencer knows what happened to her brother. He died. So she goes and tracks him down on Christmas Eve looking for answers. And he tries to turn her away, but then bullets start flying. So he doesn't want to take the stubborn beauty on his life or death mission to find out the truth about how Wade's past may have cost her brother his life. So, of course, there's romance involved and things like that. So this is sounds like a really good suspense thriller. I've read other books. I've read other books by Katie Lee, and I've enjoyed them. And this isn't a really long book, so should be able to get through it fairly quickly. And then the next book I want to read is called Reboot by Amy Tintera, and this is about a girl named Ren Connolly. 5 years ago she died, and then after 178 minutes she came back as a reboot. Stronger, faster, able to heal, but also less emotional. The longer reboots are under, the less human they are when they return, making Ren 178 the deadliest reboot in the Republic of Texas. Now 17 years old, her favorite part of her job is training new reboots, but her latest newbie is the worst she's ever seen. As a 22, Calum Rees is practically still human. His reflexes are too slow, he's always asking pesky questions, and his ever-present smile is freaking Ren out. And yet, he's still her newbie. When Calum falls short of reboot standards, Ren is told to eliminate him. But the perfect soldier is done taking orders. So that just sounds like an interesting premise, and I can't wait to read it. And then the next book I have is also on my Kindle. It's called Murder Freshly Baked by Vanetta Chapman. And it's a series that is set in an Amish village, I don't want to say reenactment, but a representative of the Amish life, and it's in Shipshewana, Indiana, and it's the third book in the series, and it's each book deals with one murder that has happened in the village. So it's I've read the other two, and I'm interested in well, I've read the first one. I have the second one, but I'm reading the third one. So I'm really interested in. I did start it, but I haven't finished it yet. And then, so the next book is Monument 14, Sky on Fire. I read Monument, the first one in this series, a couple months ago. Oh, and this is by Emmy Laybourne. And I really enjoyed it, so I just wanted to pick up the second one to see what's going on. It's a dystopian where people, where some kids are living in a superstore, trying to stay safe, and while everything's happening out in the world, like, you know, hailstorms, chemical fallout, all the different things, and it's just about what happens next. So, and then the last book I want to read is called 10 by Gretchen McNeil, and this is her take on the book And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, and that is one of my favorite books, and so I just want to see what this book is, what her take is on that book. So I just really enjoy this. So, okay, that's it for this month, and I just appreciate you dropping by, and if you want to leave any comments, that would be great. Thank you. Bye.